Good morning. Happy Friday to ya. We've made it to day 5 of the preschool small group mini series. Woohoo! If you haven't joined us any of the other days, I just want to let you know that you can find the other days' videos on the Lovely Commotion Facebook page under videos. And also, I have one more episode of this coming on Monday, all about organization, because I got some questions about that. So I want to show you how I organize my small groups. So that is coming on Monday. I hope you're having a great Friday today. It's going to be Fun Friday. So we're going to do a fun question of the day. So serious question here. No. Flare pen or Mr. Sketch markers or flare pens? Which is your favorite? I know. Such a hard question. So drop in the comments, which is your favorite? Good afternoon. Good afternoon, Christy. So drop in the comments, do you like Mr. Sketch markers or flare pens better? So I definitely use my flare pens way more often. I have like a whole bucket of them back here because I adore using them in my planner. But I was thinking, wouldn't it be amazing, and maybe they already have these, and if you know, please tell me, wouldn't it be amazing if they have flare pens that were smelly too? That would be just like knocking it out of the park. I would just adore that. So maybe maybe Papermate can get on that for us because flare pens are amazing. Yeah, I'm seeing you all agree. Flare pens are amazing. So that was just our Fun Friday question today. Yes, flare pens, Stacy, are better. I agree. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. Again, if you have missed any of the other videos, you can check them out on the Lovely Commotion Facebook page, and you can look under videos. Also, again, I'll be coming live on Monday. So I'll be talking about organization. So I'm super excited about that too. So this became a 5-day series plus one. So today is the very last day. We've talked about the benefits, how to create our groups. We went over some small group activities. Yesterday we talked about creating a schedule, and today are just my tips for making your small group as successful as possible. So let's go ahead and get started. And I have 3 main tips with lots of little tips mixed inside of them. And just a lot of it is a lot of things for you just to think about and kind of plan for when you're doing your small group. So number 1 is have a plan. Plan ahead what you can. Obviously, this summer, you're not going to know which students you're going to have in the fall. So you can't plan necessarily which skills you're going to need to do. You're not going to know your groups ahead of time. But what you could do, and what I like to do, is make sure I already have some of the activities ready. So I like to think about like which skills did I see a lot of my students needing in the past, and how could I already prepare some of those activities so it takes that pressure off of me during the school year. Because I don't know about you, but during the school year, I come home just tired. I'm just tired. And so if I can do some of this stuff ahead of time, I really like to be able to do that. And really the only thing for small group that I know that I can do ahead of time is get some activities ready and get them organized. So I like to do that ahead. But I also like to kind of have my brain wrapped around how I want to monitor progress. And I think I showed you, I think it maybe was Wednesday, but that I used basically just like an observation sheet. And I write down the observations. That's what works for me. Maybe it's Post-it notes for you. Maybe it's just a scrap piece of paper, but something that you can come back to so that when things are happening, you don't later, like I always like to think that I'm going to remember things, and it never works out that way. So, later you're not like, oh, which kiddo was doing that patterning so well, I can't recall. And so I'll just shorthand on this log, these quick observations. And again, I will drop the link to this. I don't think it's in it's in the Facebook post right now, but I'll drop it in there so you can grab this for free too. but thinking about how you're going to be monitoring their progress so that you know when they're going to be leaving that group and maybe joining a new group. So that's something I want you to think about and have a plan for. And then also just deciding how you want to handle some situations that are going to come up. One situation that we've kind of talked about before that will definitely probably come up is, what about those students or student, hopefully only one, that just doesn't want to come join you at small group? And how are you going to handle that? And how does your center want you to handle that, or your school or whatnot? So putting some thought into that. Just to give you kind of an example, what I like to do is, if I have a child that just doesn't want to come back to the small group table, I give them a little time, especially at first, and kind of let them see what it's all about. I have some that like to just stand far away and watch and see what's going on, and why the teacher is calling over just, certain groups of students. And so they're over there watching and they're not real sure yet. And so I'm giving them that time. And then I'm also making sure that it's an engaging, fun, makes them kind of go, I might want to try that type of activity that we're doing. So it kind of encourages that as well. And then I also just have to change my mindset around it. I have to say, well, they may not be ready for this right now. Maybe they're over here ready to play. This is where they are right now, and they're not open to that small group learning time yet. And then I've also mentioned that I have had in the past probably just about one or two students that just it was more of a defiance, right? It was, I'm not doing it because you want me to do it. And so the year and year progressed, and it became more of a, this is your job, it's time to come back, because I knew that student. I had a relationship with them, and so I knew how far I could push, and I kind of had an inkling based off of other observations that, I think that we could do this, and we need to work up that attention to task. So you are gonna run into that too, but that's really where you've got to know your students, because pushing them into doing something that they're not ready to do or that they don't want to do is just going to create a hatred for that, and that is not what you want. You don't want them connecting, not fun, don't want to do this with their first learning experiences in preschool. So having a plan. And then on the flip side, I have found that I actually have this problem more often than not, and it's that other students that aren't in the group want to come play, because I guess I did a pretty good job in selling it, and they are buying it and they want to come play too. So that actually happens more often for me. And I've learned to handle that in a couple ways. If I have room and it's just one or two kiddos, then I can invite them in. If I don't feel like I have room and maybe that kiddo has already mastered that skill, I will give them time with those materials when we're finished. So I'll tell them, oh, come back. And when we're all done here, you can do it too. And most of the time, if they already have that mastered, it's something they can do by themselves for the most part. And so that's kind of a way I include them, because I really hate to just shut them off and go, nope, not your group. You don't get to come play here. That just really kind of hurts me, knowing that they want to do it too. And so I try to make ways to include them as well. And if there's a lot of students all wanting to do it, then maybe we just do it. Maybe it's a super fun activity and we all just do it. And so that's where I kind of have to go with the flow. And that kind of brings me to number 2. So 1, have a plan the best you can, right? Plan what you can control and plan ahead what you can, because you don't know your students yet. You don't know your groups. You don't have your assessments done. So just do what you can. And Monday, when I share about organization, I'll kind of show you what I go ahead and have done so that I can have my best foot forward as far as activities go. So 1, have a plan. 2 is be flexible, like super flexible. And I know you're having a plan, and we all need a plan, but as we know in early childhood, nothing always goes to our plan, and that has to be okay. It has to be okay. And I also have to remind myself, and I did centers when I taught first grade as well, and this was something that I always struggled with. It was just like managing all the children in centers while I'm trying to do reading small group in first grade. And that was really frustrating because I felt like they knew better. And when I went down to preschool, I knew they don't know better. I can't expect this out of them. So I have to adjust how my expectations are there. And so basically what I just tell myself is I'm going to get interrupted. It's just going to happen. They're 4 and 5, they're egocentric, and it's all about them right now. So knowing their child development skills at that moment, it's just going to happen. And I have to, and so now I just tell myself, well, it's just going to happen. No need to get upset about it. I'm going to simply address that student quickly and move on. And just, it's all about the way that I approach it. And I've found that if I approach it it's going to happen and it's all right, then it really just kind of rolls off my back, rolls off everybody else's back, right? I like Chrissy, plan what we can control. Yeah, which sometimes doesn't feel like a lot right now, especially in these Corona days, but we're doing the best we can. So no interruptions are coming because they are going to come, and getting upset at kids for interrupting really isn't going to make it any easier and isn't going to build that relationship up. So just know they're coming and deal with them as you can. And then, of course, have a plan, but give yourself grace. It may not happen that way. I know sometimes other colleagues, we get halfway through the day and they're like, I haven't got anything done that I wanted to get done. Like, I don't know what I'm going to do. And, for me, it's just you did the best you could that day. And sometimes little people throw stuff at us that we didn't see coming and we did not put on the plans. And that's the beauty of this job. Every day is something new. It's always a challenge, right? And so just giving yourself that grace. Yes, I planned this. No, I did not get to it. This happened. I'm not going to beat myself up about it. And we're just going to try again another day, right? And then think of your plans, like when you're going to make your small group plans and when you're going to see the students, think of it as like a living document. Like it's forever changing and breathing. Same with your regular lesson plans, right? Didn't get to this, gonna move it down here. It just happens all the time. And embracing it and not getting upset with yourself about, I haven't done my best. I haven't given these kiddos everything they need. This is just the beauty of early childhood, is that it's just constantly changing and growing. And so I use, and I've showed you this before, I just use a very simplified lesson plan. Be helpful if you could see it. A simplified lesson plan where I just list out the skills and the students and the dates that they met. Now, I kind of plan out who I want to see and when, but I definitely just kind of, I wouldn't say wing it because I do have a plan, but I play it by ear. And sometimes my plan goes great and sometimes it doesn't. And I always make sure that I'm just marking it out, moving it around. Pencils, I love pencils because I can erase. So, and it's always changing based on their needs. So just give yourself some grace and be flexible. So just to recap, know that those interruptions are coming. They're going to. Multiple times probably, and then how you handle it is kind of setting the stage for how your students will handle some issues that come up in the classroom, just like we're modeling all the time. This is another time to model interruptions, and we can teach kids, look, we're working over here, can you wait? And we can teach kids all that, but just know that it's coming. And then having a plan and giving yourself grace. I mean, it's a constantly evolving thing, and we do it all. I mean, that's your whole day, right? It's constantly switching and moving and changing, and we have a plan so that we don't fail, but it's always changing. So that's number 2, is just give yourself that grace. And then number 3 is get organized. And this is what we're going to talk about on Monday. And I love organization. I'm excited about it. But what I found is that sometimes when I would go and plan out my small group, I would like have it all ready. And then I'm like, oh, wait, I forgot the such and such that I needed. And it's not in my classroom. It's downstairs in the storage room. And so then I would have to on the fly flip it around, not having what I needed. So I tried my best, and I still got a little ways to go, but I tried my best to keep everything that I might need in my classroom. And so actually I have 2 different carts. I have one cart that's like in my closet where children can't get to it, where it's like a whole bunch of art materials like craft sticks and pipe cleaners and sequins and just all the little things that I find that I might need that we actually store downstairs for all the teachers. I have my own little one upstairs so that if I forget something, which happens to me often, I can go there. And then my other cart is my small group cart. And this has helped a lot. I used to use like a cabinet, and I'm going to talk more about this on Monday, but that my small group cart has helped a lot because I can have things on there that we use often, like scissors or glue or pencils, or I have like a little easel on there so I can write and show them if I need to. My eraser collection is on there because we use those to play games, and those always bring children to the table, those little erasers. So having everything in a spot. So if you can kind of start thinking about your classroom and your setup and where you're going to have small group, and do you have something near that? Would a cart work better? What would work? Maybe a tub, whatever it may be. So kind of thinking about how you want to get organized. And then on Monday, we're going to talk more specifically on how I've found it to work for me, because I like to share what works for me, because maybe it'll work for someone else too. So I know this was a short one today, but I just wanted to pop in and kind of wrap up our series here and then remind you about Monday. So I want to wish you a very good weekend and hope that it's full of rest and relaxation. And I will see you again on Monday, and we will do the same time, same place, same everything. So thank you guys for tuning in. See ya.